It's our Friday show. Harrison Sanford, Aqib Talib, joined always by our producer Paul Aspen as we break down all things fantasy football, Survivor, DFS, all those good things as we go into week 4 of the NFL season. But before we do that, another part of our week is that we're getting really nice, really happy to see every weekend is Aqib in the booth. And this week he is in the booth as the Chicago Bears, the Detroit Lions go head-to-head. Detroit on the road in Chicago as Justin Fields gets his start, we think at least, at Soldier Field. We'll see what happens with the injury report. But Aqib, in fantasy football this past year or during our draft, you went ahead and picked DeAndre Swift. And I was a little skeptical, and judging by how you beat me, I shouldn't have been.
You shouldn't have been.
I shouldn't have been at all. I think from a Detroit Lions perspective, they lost that heartbreaker to the Baltimore Ravens, but you like them because of the offensive line. Jared Goff seems relatively comfortable at that starting quarterback position for that franchise. What are your early impressions of positivity for that Detroit Lions team so far in this season?
Well, I mean, we knew it wasn't going to be magic. We knew they weren't going to come out and, just start storming the world, right? But I think it's a work in progress, and they're going in the right direction, man. If you basically had a nice 2-minute drill drive from Jared Goff to go down and get points and had a game won, right? Your defense came out. They got this close to stopping Lamar on that last drive. He hit Sammy Watkins on that 4th down, man, and found him. But they got great pressure on Lamar all day. They contained him. They tackled him well. Man, this defense they flying around, man, and they playing for their coach. It's a lot of ex-players on that coaching staff, so I think all the players is pretty much bought in. They just need a couple of the tip balls, a couple of the fumbles to roll their way, and then maybe they could stack some wins. But I think the team vibe is there. Them guys believe in themselves. That's the most important thing. They believe they can do it. So, man, they just got to get it done at this point. This would be a great week for them. This would be a great week for them to, get that ball rolling, man. They're not going against one of the powerhouses, the Ravens. They've been playing some good teams too. So this would be a good week for them to get it going.
Yeah, as it pertains to preseason perceptions, I think a lot of people, if you're watching the games, should feel very confident in the future of that Detroit Lions franchise. Seems like they have things together, at least going in that right direction. And speaking of the right direction, we're still unblemished in Survivor. We're still in line for a pretty good payday. So we're going to recap what we've done so far. Week 1, we took the Rams. Week 2, we took the Browns. This past week, we had to take the Broncos over the Jets, and that's what we did. And we're still alive. We're looking at week 4 now. As Paul joins in on this part of the conversation, we have some options here. Houston at Buffalo against Josh Allen, who went absolutely berserk against that Washington football team.
That's my pick right there. I'm to tell you right now, I'm going with that right there. That's money in the bank, if you ask me.
See, seems as if it might be, but let's at least open up this discussion a little bit. Then you got the Titans at the New York Jets. Then you got the Bengals and Jags. I'm not a big fan of that one, but it's on the table. And then
who would you pick when you say Bengals Jags? Who are we taking right there? What team are we leaning towards?
The Bengals are 7-point favorites at home.
Nah, man. Hey, stay away from them Jags, man. They this close too. They this close from busting it wide open as well.
That might go in my best bets, that line, but we could talk about that at the end of the show. And the last game that we can consider is the New Orleans Saints and the New York Giants. Aqib, you said your pick is Buffalo hosting the Houston Texans. We already know why they're going to win, but why are you so confident in using the Buffalo Bills right now? We can save them.
They hitting their stride, man. I know with this Survivor stuff, I'm new to it, but I think you want to win now. You don't really want to save nothing because you try to, go with these Jags or you go with the Saints on the road or, you know what I'm saying? It's tough, man. It's tough. So I'll just go with the easiest game. I think it's no way this team is going to lose to this team, and I think that's Buffalo at home.
So, yeah, I mean, it's tough to argue with that. I mean, they're 16.5, 17-point favorites. It's a 90% chance, 95 probably, that they win.
Hard not to go with that.
Right. Now, the counterpoint is they still face the Jets twice, so you can save them a little bit. I do not want any part of the Titans going to the Jets. I don't trust the Titans as far as I can spit. The Bengals and the Jags, that's kind of a coin flip, like you guys were saying. Maybe you get lucky, but is it really worth it? I think the only other option to consider is the Saints. They are at home, The
Oh, yeah, they are at
Superdome
home.
Superdome opener against the Giants. Giants look terrible. So that's the only other option. They are like 7.5, 8-point favorites. But so if we wanted to save Buffalo for one of those Jets games, we could, but it's tough to argue against the Keeb's logic and just like, hey, let's get through another week.
I think the Saints, we'll be able to pick the Saints later on at home against a lesser opponent. When they kind of, when they get a better feel for each other, man, they kind of still new. They kind of still putting their situation together. We know what Buffalo gonna do. They a team. They the same team they was last year. Add Emmanuel Sanders, make them even better. It's hard not to go with Buffalo right now. We want a guaranteed win.
For sure, I'm going to play devil's advocate here. For sure, Buffalo should win. They're too good of a team to lose to the Houston Texans, and they're at home. But let's look at this Titans schedule outside of this week. Then they're at Jacksonville. We see some positivity from Trevor Lawrence. Then they play the Buffalo Bills. Then they play the Kansas City Chiefs. Then they're at Indy. Then they're at the Rams. And they're home against New Orleans Saints. Could have Michael Thomas by that point. That'd be week 10. Then they would take on the Houston Texans again in week 11. And then they're at New England. They got Jacksonville again, at Pittsburgh. Then you got 49ers, week 17, Miami Dolphins. So I'm just saying.
When the hell we gonna pick the Bengals, right? If we don't pick them this week.
I'm just saying
that is true.
We can pick the Titans now, because we unless we use them in week 18, which they very well might not want to play because they might not be battling for playoff positioning. They could use a backup quarterback. We can use the Titans now, because I don't know if we could ever use them again except for week 11 when they're home against the Houston Texans. I'm just saying. But we know we could pick Buffalo next week, 2 weeks from now, whenever they're gonna have easy games and they're gonna win.
You're right about that.
But the Titans, I don't know if we could pick them again except for one more week after this.
I feel that, Harrison, and it kind of persuaded me to ride with the Titans, but Titans with AJ down, man, they just knocked themselves all the way right now. But the Jets, it shouldn't matter. They should go and handle business. So I could ride with the Titans.
Oh,
man. Is that final pick, Aqib? Titans or the Bills?
Man,
I would just rather say I'd rather take the Bengals than the Titans. Like, I don't trust
the Bengals than the Titans. Oh no, I just watched the Jags.
I'm not rocking with the Bengals.
I'm not around that first half like a playoff team. You know what I'm saying?
I trust you on that.
So I'm not messing with them Jags. It's gonna be sooner or later the Jags gonna win like 2-3 games in a row. Wow, they're gonna beat somebody good too. So I'm not messing with them Jags. I say Titans or Buffalo, man. And going off the schedule, you're right. We'll be able to pick Buffalo probably like 6 or 7 more times. So last time we might be able to pick our Titans, man. So they're going against the sorriest team in the league. We might have to ride with them. Here's
the only other counterpoint to Harrison's counterpoint. So week 11, like you said, the Titans have Houston. That is one of those. The only other options really that week are the Browns, who we've used, or the Bills. So it's almost like, there are other times to use the Bills.
So who the Bills play week 11?
I'm assuming the Jets.
Oh, so if they play the Jets, then we good. Let's take the
we
Titans.
Just targeted, yeah.
They got they got the Colts.
Ooh. Oh, see.
Yeah. So maybe we take the Bills now.
Yeah, take the Bills now and lock in the Titans for week 11. Just like
let's do that. Let's do it like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's do it like that.
Okay.
That was
Survivor. It's a good discussion. Good discussion.
Let's do it like that.
That was a good discussion. So this week we're gonna lock in the Buffalo Bills hosting the Houston Texans, and we have earmarked week 11. We're gonna take the Tennessee Titans to beat the Houston Texans at home. Hopefully AJ Brown will be healthy for that matchup. Good discussion there for sure. And let's move ahead now to
Texans gonna be to have Tyrod back. He's gonna be back off that
hammy. It all up for us.
I mean,
he's gonna be looking tough again.
I could be outvoted here. Maybe we should get Thomas in here.
Let's ride with Buffalo, man. We good. Let's just go with it. That was our first pick anyway. Let's just stick with it, man. We'll figure it out. By week 11, it'll be another team who got an injury and they'll be looking bad by then. So stuff will be different by week 11.
For sure. All right, cool. Let's go ahead and pick our fantasy stars of week 4. The way we kind of structured this segment, we pick a big time star at one position, we pick a lesser known star at the other position. It really helps you pick out your DFS lineups. I'm currently lossless in DFS so far this year, and a big thanks to Aqib and Paul for helping kind of put this segment together. Makes my picks a lot easier on Sunday mornings. I'm going to identify some picks here, and we'll break down 2 of them. Our star at the running back position, Aqib's star at the running back position, Derrick Henry against the Jets. Need we say more? The lesser known player at running back, Peyton Barber against the Los Angeles Chargers. We've seen a lot of carries, a lot of touches for Peyton Barber out of that backfield instead of Kenyon Drake getting it. Pay attention to Josh Jacobs and that injury report.
Even if Jacobs come back, man, Peyton Barber has such a good game. You won't have him on the bench this week. It'll be, let's ease Jacobs back in, but let's ride with Peyton Barber. I know how Groove do. He gonna have him in the game because he had a big week.
If you played Josh Allen in DFS this past week, you made some money. I did. As he went off against the Washington football team, he goes against the Houston Texans. Going to be a lot more popular this week in DFS, but you can still obviously use him. He's decently priced on both major DFS sites. The one player, non-star that you like, Aqib, that I think we need to talk about a bit, Jimmy Garoppolo versus the Seattle Seahawks. Jimmy Garoppolo, a fine, good, above average quarterback, but not necessarily the runner that Trey Lance is, and that's not really a pass-heavy offense, but you like him against the Seattle Seahawks. Why?
Because they know each other pretty good. They always make sure you can't run the ball, first of all. That's what they do within that division. They try to definitely make sure the other team can't run the ball. And then the pass game kind of usually be open in that division a little bit. So, man, Seattle haven't really stopped nobody from scoring points. So that offense is a machine. It's playing good right now. So I'm going to ride with Jimmy to have a day on that secondary.
Yeah, we've seen, obviously, Deebo Samuel and George Kittle have been a hallmark of that offense. We've seen Brandon Ayuk got more involved this past weekend again.
Cousins tore him up Cousins tore that secondary up last week, man. So I just don't really believe in that secondary right now. So if you got any type of pass game, I like you to have a day against Seattle.
Yep, Jimmy G will not be heavily owned in DFS, but that means if you do hit, and he does hit, and you play him in some tournaments, you could very well come out against the field and make some money. The star at the wide receiver position that we all like, he's cheap across both DFS sites. Julio Jones with the A.J. Brown injury, pretty much understandable. You got to ride with Julio. We like Tim Patrick as well against the Baltimore Ravens with KJ Hamler out. Obviously, Jerry Jeudy's still out. They're going to have to move the ball some way. He's guaranteed to get a certain amount of targets at least as they go.
He get a lot of looks in the red zone too.
There we go. And of course, they're going to try and stay undefeated. Our low-key star at the tight end position, Dawson Knox, obviously a target for Josh Allen against Houston. He got in the end zone this past weekend. And our star at the tight end position, Travis Kelce of the 1-2 Kansas City Chiefs, going to Philadelphia. Why do you like Travis Kelce so much against this Eagles linebacking core secondary?
Well, I think they're going to get back to the basics, man. They're going to throw a bunch of shorter routes, not try to be so fancy, so cute, man. They're going to make sure they get their stars to football, right? So Kelce will have a day. They're going to make sure they win this game, and Kelce is definitely going to be a part of it. So you're going to have a bunch of targets, bunch of red zone targets, and the Chiefs going to kind of get back to the basics, and Kelce is the basics for the Chiefs.
Kansas City trying to get back to their winning ways, and we here trying to get back to our winning ways with our best bets last week. It didn't go so well. Keeps bet on the Steelers. They lost, unfortunately. Rondell Moore did not hit the over. There's too many targets to go around in Arizona. I'm going to have to stay away from ever picking an over-under prop.
They tried to get him to rock, though. They tried to get him, but like I said, Jacksonville was tackling. They was flying around early in that game, so they tried to get him involved. He got his own little package, but they just wasn't able to do it.
And as Aqib pointed out, that Seattle Seahawks secondary was weak against the Minnesota Vikings.
Terrible.
And I know Paul was not happy about that. So Paul, kick us off. You're going back to the team that beat the Seahawks in Minnesota. Paul, kick us off with your best bet for week 4.
So I'm still not buying the Vikings. And I mean, look, the Seahawks were up 17-7. They line up for a field goal. They should have gone up 20-7. Like, the beginning of the game is exactly what I thought it was going to be. And then the Seahawks fell apart because their defense stinks. So I do think the Browns are a more complete team. You know, they didn't exactly face a great offense in the Bears last week, but they shut them down real good. Myles Garrett, like, really showed up. So I like the Browns this week, -2, and it's creeping up. It was like -1.5, -2. Now it's -2.5 in some places. So I do like the Browns here. I also got another one once we finish going around the horn, but that's still fading the Vikings. I just don't believe in them yet.
I'm with Paul. I love that matchup. Cleveland gonna run the ball good. They could throw the ball off their play action stuff good. Odell is back. He's gonna be a little more involved this week. And if they get up early, I like their defense to be able to maintain that lead. They got a much better secondary, and they got a nice rush. Myles Garrett, Clowney down there, man. So I like them to get that lead, and then they be able to hold it with that rush and them DBs. So I'm going with the Browns -2 for sure. My best bet.
My best bet for week 4 here, and I got 2 of them. The Colts getting 1.5 in Miami. We got Tua Tagovailoa. It's not at quarterback. It's Jacoby Brissett. Miami hung in there with the Vegas Raiders this past week, but that was because of some turnovers really helped them out there. Even though Miami's I think on a 22, 23 game streak of at least having 1 turnover. Stud defense they got over there, but I still take Indianapolis with Carson Wentz being healthy for the entirety of the week now. They're 0-3. It seems like they have to get win if they intend to compete for a playoff spot. And then I also like Corey Davis to get a touchdown. This is just a prop bet to get a touchdown this week with the New York Jets playing against the Tennessee Titans. Played for the Tennessee Titans last year. We already know he's the locked-in number 1 target for Zach Wilson. That pass rush for the Tennessee Titans not as great as what Zach Wilson has seen the past 2 weeks going against the Patriots and going against the Denver Broncos. A little bit easier secondary to work against as well. So I like Corey Davis to get a touchdown, and I like the Colts to get 1.5 going in Miami. Key, what you think?
I'm scared of Miami defense, and I don't really believe in the Colts. So I mean, you at home with points, that's always good. But, man, Brissett looked all right. I thought he was going, I don't know. Some teams I just stay away from, Harrison, and the Dolphins is one of those teams. I don't know if they good, they bad. I don't know if their defense is the best or the worst. I don't know. So I just kind of stay away from them. So, man, I might ride with the Corey Davis. Then that's the Jets out. Hey, this is your best bet, Harrison.
I don't mind the Corey Davis one. I hate both those teams. Like I was on the Titans this past week against the Colts. I didn't feel good about that game the entire time. I was on the Dolphins against the Raiders. They covered the 4, but it was a sweat the entire time. It was ugly.
So hard.
It's so hard. Good for you, man. Like I wish you luck, but I don't want to touch either of those teams.
Hey,
but
me neither.
I'll give you one more before we get out of here. I am going to look at the Panthers +4.5 at the Cowboys. Now that line is going up. I'm going to see if it gets up to 6 because Cowboys blow out the Eagles on the national stage. Everyone sees it. So money might be coming up on the Cowboys. Might push that line up to like 5.5, 6. So I like it if it gets to 6. I'll probably still play it at 4.5, 5. But the Panthers long layoff off Thursday Night Football, Cowboys short week, let down after a big divisional win. So I'll be looking at the Panthers getting the 4.5, hopefully up to 6. In Dallas next week.
This a good competitive week this week, man. It's a lot of good games on this week.
So that was our week of shows. Thanks again to Ryan Drusilla for jumping in on Wednesday. Broncos fans, we got to hold you down on Thursday. And you got all your betting, gambling, DFS advice for the weekend. And Aqib, we'll see you on Sunday in Chicago for the Detroit Lions taking on the Chicago Bears. We're looking forward to that. And we're looking forward to the fit, too. Last week was clean. That's Aqib Talib.
I got to find a full body picture from that, man.
Yeah, for sure.
From last week.
That's Aqib Talib. I'm Harrison Sanford. Paul Aspen, our producer. Thomas in the background. Appreciate everybody. We'll see you next week.